Here we are, we made it, day 24, a whole month of fixing, every day an attempted fix, and now we're on the last day, Advent day 24. So what's going to be in this video? There's going to be some fixes that maybe I thought wasn't worthy of a video, there's going to be some fixes that I couldn't do, there's going to be some fixes that were already fixed, and there's going to be other little fun things along the way. So sit back, relax and enjoy. Let's get started.
Be merry but can't shine bright.
Well, you can't get any more festive than Christmas lights. So my wife's been putting up a few decorations around the place, and then she was like, Vince, the wire's come out, can you fix it? Of course I can fix it. So, I'm thinking this is going to take about 2 minutes in total, hopefully. And then it keeps something like this out of landfill, because look how much there is of it, all because of one loose wire. Right, so we've got some hot snot glue, which I'll try to pick off. I've got my soldering iron already on, waiting, eager to get going. There we go. Can you see one goes to there? Isn't that weird that they've soldered it that side? So they've already put a bend on it. Oh, actually, sorry. Was that done on purpose for some strain relief? Hold on. No, it wasn't. Yeah. There's a lot of weight on that wire, though, to be fair to it. You know, there is a lot of weight on that, because this will often dangle. Ah, but that's what the glue's for. I suppose the glue's the strain relief. Okay, I'm going to put that on the other way around. I'm going to put it on this way. I'm going to cut that back a bit. Right, so that's nicely tinned. I'm just going to shorten it up. There we go.
Who's shouting flux?
Right, they're now on. I should put the batteries in and test it, but I can't see why they wouldn't work. And that one there definitely isn't shorting against there, even though that is a little bit long. That's not shorting. So I'm going to just use the same glue, and that will hopefully act as the strain relief. I'm going to angle it downwards so the glue will hopefully flow a little bit into that hole. There we go. Well, I think it's as good as it was when it left the factory. Oh, it's just on and off. Okay. Ta-da! There we go. All because of a loose wire. Nobody say naff. I quite like it. Looks nice there. Do you like my Samsung Frame TV? I love this thing. So that you get to choose all different images. And what I did is I made my own little oak
frame for it here. That's real oak there. I got it from B&Q, just beading, and I think it looks quite nice. And you get to watch TV on it and YouTube and all the rest. I bought it faulty off eBay. Why did I say faulty? It wasn't faulty. It was just missing some bits, but I've managed to put bits together to get it on the wall. It was about half the price. There we go. Anyway, lights are fixed. And if you're looking to fix up some projects in 2025, then why don't you check out PCBWay.com. PCBWay are the sponsor of today's video. PCBWay is your one-stop solution for all things PCB fabrication and assembly. From rapid prototyping to full-scale production, PCBWay delivers top quality products. So whether you're a seasoned engineer or a hobbyist just starting out, PCBWay's user-friendly interface makes ordering your own custom PCBs very easy. And PCBWay do a variety of different services, including but not limited to assembling your PCBs, CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication, and injection moulding. So when you're ready to take your designs to the next level, look no further than PCBWay and bring your ideas to life. So as always, a massive thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring the My Mate Vince channel. Now let's move on to another Advent little treat.
Let us have music for Christmas, Vince.
We're going to be looking at this Sharp soundbar and also wireless subwoofer here. That's supposed to connect to this via Bluetooth, I believe. Now I've plugged them both in, and I can see that the subwoofer does seem to have power, because if I hit this little sync button here, this pair button, it lights up. Can you see there? Sorry, polystyrene on me. There you go. But this one here seems to be completely dead. I swapped the figure of 8 leads over just in case it was like a fuse or a dodgy lead or something, and it's not. Nothing's happening here. If I tap power or hold it down, there's no lights coming up anywhere. So I think we need to take this one over to the mat, and I can see various screws at the back here. Let's undo the screws, see if I can maybe pull part of this out and see why it's got no power at all. Of course I am unplugged. Let's undo these 4 screws and see what's happening. Oh, amazing. Oh, wow. I thought this was going to be a nightmare to take apart. How nice is that? Lovely. So we've got a lot of wires here. More than I thought. So I presume there's something on the power supply here, which is not happy. Right, so I'm going to take some pictures and then we'll unplug all of these here. There we go. We are free, so we can get rid of this. So this is the power supply here. Got a little fuse there, we'll have to check that. I've got to be careful because remember this has been plugged in, so there might be a load of charge in that capacitor. I just want to get a lump of plastic just to push that down. This little connector here looks to be a bit raised. No, but it's in. A bit crooked, eh? They kind of glued it a bit crooked. And this is the low voltage here. It goes into here and provides low voltage to this board here. So let's go onto this massive capacitor here and let's see if we've got any voltage across it, this one here. 14 volts is still there, and you can see it's dropping slowly. Right, okay. Well, let's have a close look on this side of the board. I don't need to drain that, it's only 14 volts. Let's see if we've got any burnt components. No, I think it looks okay that side. So I suppose we're going to start
at the input and work our way through, and we'll have an idea of what's going on. Oh, is that a hole? No. See if the fuse is intact. So we're going to continuity. So the fuse is here, so it comes in, you know, from here to here. So let's see if these are okay. Yes. Yes, so that's okay. So from here, fuse is okay. Comes up to here. That little coil's okay because it's going through the coil on this side anyway. And it's going into the bridge rectifier. And then on this side, it's coming up here, here, here. So that's okay. Right, so let's check the bridge rectifier. So we're going to go to diode test. And we should have a reading one way, but not the other. So a reading, reading, reading. Swap the leads. Now it should be nothing. 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 So that is okay. The very fact that we had 14 volts earlier says to me that the cap is going to be okay. It must be holding some sort of voltage. So now, I think we're going to have to turn this on and see if we have any voltage. And the very fact that we had 14 volts in the cap actually means that all the components probably up to the cap are going to be okay. For example, if the fuse was blown, how is any voltage going to even make it as far as the cap? So really, that testing was kind of pointless. But anyway, let's plug it in and see if the power supply is producing a low voltage to the other board. So I'm not going to touch anything here because I will be electrocuted. Let's see what's happening. I want to see if there's any low voltage here. So I'm plugged in now, so this area here is going to be live. Let's see what we got here. Look at that, 23 volts. So we have got 23 volts. Right, let's unplug it. Now, I was sure that that was going to be a power supply problem. Let me see the voltage draining away. Yeah, we'll go down slowly as the capacitor loses energy. I'm unplugged. Let's measure the cap now. There you go, 199. And dropping. Right, we won't touch that for a bit. Ooh, right, okay. Hold on, is there something on that chip there? Let's zoom in, being careful not to touch anything. That chip doesn't look healthy. That chip's got a nice big hole in. I wonder, is that the little sound chip? Is that a little audio amplifier? That's been put on crooked as well. Well, that's got a lovely big hole in it, but I think we can still read it. So this won't be getting fixed today. Okay, it looks like it's a 3284H, EUP 3284H. And it says here, the EUP 3284H is a synchronous current mode buck regulator capable of driving 3 amp continuous load current with excellent load and load regulation. It's got an input range of 4.5 to 30 volts, and the output can be externally set from 0.92 volts to 20 volts with a resistive divider. So it's like a step down converter type thing. Yes, buck isn't, not boost, yeah, buck regulator. So I need to buy one of them. I don't know whether anything else has failed, but maybe if that's the thing doing most of the conversion, maybe it's working really hard and it's just prone to failing. So yeah, let me see how much they are and if I can even get them in the UK. Right, as is always the way, no UK sellers on eBay or anything. So I'm going to have to buy this one here. there is 10 of them, so they don't cost a lot of money. You know, like if you add that onto that, you're looking, let's just call it £6.50. You're talking about 65p per chip. Obviously, I don't need 10 of them, but it's nice to have things as spares. It's just a real shame. I don't think I'm going to be able to include this in the Advent series because I don't think it's going to be back in time, which is really irritating, but it is what it is. So I'm going to order up one of these. When it arrives, we'll pop it in. We'll see. It might just come to life because a quick scan around the place, the rest of it looks okay. And maybe nothing caused that chip to fail. It might have just been working hard. Maybe it was on full volume for a little bit too long or something like that. And then it just went. It could have been faulty from, from manufacturer. Maybe the chip had some weak thing in that just went. So, yeah, hopefully it will work when we pop it in.
So it's items like this that can throw a real spanner in the works when you're trying to do a video a day because there's no outcome. If it's unfixable, that's an outcome, that's a completed video. But we don't know when these chips arrive if it's going to be working or whether there's another 3, 4, 5 hours of fault finding to be done. I might put a new chip in, it might burn up again straight away. But right now, we don't know. So there's no outcome to the video, so that's why it can't be released. I will do a revisit video on this when the chip arrives, and then we'll see what's what. It might be the perfect little short video if the chips were here, because I could just put it in. If it's all working, fantastic. That there is a kind of perfect YouTube video, but at this moment in time we really don't know, and that's why I didn't include it in one of the days, because there's no outcome to it. I don't mind on today's video because this is a summary of loads of different things that I did, and this is one of the hurdles that you have to overcome when you're trying to do a video a day, because now I have to wrap this one up and I have to then start on a new item. It's only 24 hours in a day. You're going to be asleep for 6 or 7 of them, so you're only left with about 17 hours, and in those 17 hours you've got to fix an item and you've got to edit that up as well. And of course, if you have another one like this here where you can't fix because you're waiting on spares, then really you've run out of time then to do anything in that day. So yeah, I found some of the days very, very challenging, but I knew I would. Anyway, let's move on to another item and we'll revisit this one when the chips arrive, whenever that may be.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
And this time we're looking at an old but new quartz watch. So this is from the 1980s and it was listed as never been worn, new with defects, but obviously we're talking something which is 40 odd years old now. I would say this is early 80s because it's actually listed as quartz, so I think this is going to be more early 80s, and it just looks, I don't know, to me it looks more 70s than 80s. It's from Hong Kong, and yeah, it's not working even though a new battery has been fitted. So let's get it over to the mat and see what we can do with it. Interestingly, it's called Executive 19, which I think is quite a funny name for it. But yeah, the LCD doesn't look happy at all. It looks like there's kind of shadows and stuff on it. So I'm not sure if it's going to be fixable, but we'll give it a very good go. Okay, so you can see it a bit better now. And you can see it's kind of burnt here. What's nice is look at the way they've brushed it. It's like a sunburst. So imagine a point in the middle and the brushing goes all the way like that, like a sun going around. It is actually a nice watch in a retro way. So it's polished here, polished bezel there. It's looking good. So we have a button here which is going to be for select. I presume that's just between date and time. We got a light here which is working. Look, can you see that light there lighting up? Hopefully you'll see something. And then we have a middle button here, which I presume is for settings. So let's hit down the middle button just in case, but there's nothing on that screen at all. And it just looks weird. It looks like the back to front. Does that make sense? So it's light where it should be dark. It's like negative, yeah? So let's pop the battery out. Let's see if it's got any charge on it. Well, that all looks in very good nick. So I presume this is 1.5 volts. Yeah, 1.55. So battery's absolutely fine. Okay, let's try to take the back off it. And there's a little indentation just here to take the back off. I just want to see if this is going to work. If not, I'll get my watch tools out. Yes, it is. Ooh, here we go. Old circuit board. Ooh, nice. Let's zoom right in. It looks nicer on the inside than it does on the outside. So we've got a blob chip in the middle, a glob top chip. Can you see?
Very nice. And you can see all the... I need something finer. So let's say now this button here, you can see it goes to here, maybe joined to there, I'm not too sure. Or let's say this button here, you can see it goes straight into here, and there'd be a bond wire from the actual chip going to there. Yeah? So this is the die or whatever you call it, and there'll be little bond wires, these tiny, tiny little slithers of wire that go from there. And I think they're like, they're not soldered so much, I think they're like bonded, or things like gold or something, gold bonded on. It'd be absolutely tiny.
Now I've just paused this image here because I know you all like to play along at home. Can you see something which isn't right? I never spotted it at this point in the video, but have a look here, and it's kind of obvious now what that problem is. Can you see what it is? I'll keep it here for a few more seconds. Weird thing is the light's working. Why is the light working? Can't quite work that out. But have a look there and you'll see that something isn't right. So now I'm going to jump to the part of the video where I'll discover what you potentially have already just seen. And if you haven't, you're going to find out in a few seconds.
Do you know what? This one here, surely that needs to be bent back. That needs to be bent back into it, does it not? Because otherwise, that's near enough going to be shorting on the bottom one again. I think this needs to be... Let me just hold this down here. I think this here needs to be back here like that. I think that's been flattened down. Like that. Wouldn't that make more sense? Oh my word, we've got it. We've got it. And that is where the digitizer's left on. So the digitizer was maybe going to be okay. Now I still think the digitizer might be letting through. I don't know actually.
Did you spot it? Well done if you did. Pat yourself on the back, you deserve a Christmas treat. Now, in this part of the video, I'd already been probably working on this for 45 minutes or so, and I'd already started to scrape off the polarizer. I think I just called it a digitizer. The polarizer is what you need to be able to see the display. And sometimes they can go a bit burnt, like if you think about a Game Boy, often you will have a burnt polarizer. I thought maybe these weird stains were to do with the polarizer being aged, so I started to scrape it off. I clearly need to scrape the other half of it off, or the third of it off, and I need to put a new one on. But the reason the watch wasn't working itself was because of that battery terminal. I'm just going to go back and watch the beginning of the video again, because I'm sure that light was working, you know. I'm sure I wouldn't have been imagining that. So how on earth could a light work if the positive terminal of the battery wasn't actually on where it should be? Very, very strange. Anyway, I put a new polarizer on that I've got from, I bought a massive polarizing sheet from an iPad, I think it might have been. Anyway, dirt cheap. I got it years ago on eBay. And what you have to do is you have to kind of like rotate it round until you get the darkest display possible. All that takes quite a bit of time. And then I put all the watch back together. But this is the outcome of the watch.
Okay, so a while later now, and it has been on my wrist, but I am not going to be wearing this watch here. And pure and simple, it's too hard to read the time. So I've set it up now where you can nicely see it. You can see there, it looks quite clear. But look, you've only got to turn it a little bit to there, and now you can see it's gone dark. And if I go to here, it almost becomes unreadable. And that's the problem. So you can tell the time on it, it's just that you have to move your wrist around a little bit in order to tell the time. So yeah, personally, that spoils it for me. But it is keeping perfect time. And I do quite like the look of it, which is a shame. So there was nothing actually wrong with this watch apart from the battery contact. So that would have only taken a few seconds to fix if I had spotted it first of all. But it was the display here. I thought it might have been like a Game Boy with a burnt
polarizer. You know, you get them with a burnt screen, put a new polarizer on and everything's fine. But now I think when I edit the video back, I will realise that it was kind of obvious that it was the segments that were leaking rather than the actual polarizer itself, because there wasn't a big burn in the middle. It was kind of around the outline of the digits, wasn't it? So I think if I ever see that again in the future, I know to walk away. Apparently with LCDs like this, they have only got a certain life. Now, I don't know how much use this has had, meaning that I know it hasn't been worn, but it's not to say that it hasn't been in a shop window ticking away for a few years. Maybe even it's had various battery changes. Not too sure. But yeah, I should have known, because I have come across it before with Game & Watches. I bought a load of junk Game & Watches from the same seller, and yeah, what you see here is you kind of just see black everywhere, and what's happened is it's all leaked out of the actual segments that it should be in. Some people say by heating it up you can fix it. I tried heating it up on this one, and you can just see where the hot air got to the middle of it, completely moved all the liquid away from that area, and it never came back again. So I don't think this one will be getting any better over time, unfortunately. But there we go, it is what it is, unfixable from the very start. But saying that, it's a working watch again. It's just a watch that I wouldn't like using, because that would just annoy me, and I think it would annoy everybody else as well. So that one was destined to fail from the beginning, because the actual LCD display has leaked internally. Not much, just a bit, but it's enough to make it not nice to look at. You want a crisp display, and even in the 1980s you want a crisp display. I appreciate it's an old watch, but there's thousands of old watches out there from the 80s that still look perfect. So although the case and everything on this one is fine, the insides are not. The LCD has just failed, deteriorated over time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that LCD is recoverable, because you can see where it's leaked on all the segments. Basically, it's easier to see when there's no battery in it, because you can make out all the segments. Why is that? Normally when there's no battery in a watch, you can't really make anything out, but on this you can clearly make it out. So it's like every segment's just leaked a little bit. Kind of weird, but there we go. Maybe the glue inside has failed after all these years, and it's just allowing a little bit of the liquid out. Still quite interesting though. Now onto something a little bit different, a bit of fun.
Guessing game.
Now this is the moment I've been waiting for. So after my beautiful repair on the motor here, I want to know how long it's going to last. Remember, I epoxied it on. Epoxy only goes up to 82 degrees Celsius. I was careful at the end of the video to not have it on for too long, because after all the work I put into the motor, I wanted to have a successful outcome to the video rather than a motor burning out after 1 minute. So we're going to have a little bit of fun now. If you don't like it, you can always fast forward. It's easy to do. I think that this motor is going to last, and here's my prediction, 3 minutes 45 seconds of continually being on. If it lasts for more than 10 minutes, I think my arms will be worn out by then, so we will just end it there and just say 10 minutes max. If it lasts for 10 minutes, it's going to be a miracle. I'm saying 3 minutes 45 seconds. You put down in the comments, or you don't even have to do that. I'm not playing that game where I'm trying to con you into doing engagement. You have a think, you can put down in the comments if you want, how long it's going to last. You've already seen it work for maybe, what, 30 seconds or something in the garden, or 20 seconds, 30 seconds. But when it's on continually, that motor's going to get hotter and hotter. Also, the commutator, I hope I got that right, that is also not smooth anymore. And the brushes are snapped and all sorts. You know, the carbon brushes are in bits, aren't they? So maybe the brushes will disintegrate before the motor falls apart. I think it's going to be fun. It needs a new motor anyway. It's of no use as it is now. So let's have it on continually and let's see how long it's going to last. I'm going to set up the iPad down here, and I'm going to get myself comfortable. Make your predictions now. My mate Vince is saying 3 minutes 45 seconds, and you already know I'm quite good when it comes to the measuring on the scales that I fix, and I feel quite confident that I'm going to be close. Okay, we're ready. Start. We're off. I should have drawn the curtains. I don't know what the neighbours are going to think. Oh, it's nearly gone already. We're only 8 seconds in. Come on. It's slowed down a lot. It's still going though. Oh, now we're getting there.
Ah, oh, I can smell burning. Oh no, I'd have to do action replay on the time there. Ah, it's gone already. Well, I was expecting it to last longer than that. I thought 3 minutes 45. I don't even know if I got to 25. Oh well, a little bit of fun, hey? It needs a new motor. It was still a nice repair while it lasted. Oh, gutted though, I thought it'd give me more.
Hand sanitizer dispenser.
I tried to fix up one of these soap dispensers in an earlier episode, and basically I got it working. It was just a flat battery, but then the next day it completely died again. I charged it up and it wouldn't accept a charge. It would only charge to a flashing light. It wouldn't. The amp draw didn't go above 20 to 30 milliamps, and I thought, okay, well clearly it's a failed battery. So what I'm going to do now is, I can see that here it's quite big, this battery is quite small. I'm going to mod this one to put an oversized cell in. I'm going to put in an 18650 and a decent one as well. This is a Samsung one. This is 3000 milliamp hours. Who knows what this really is here? It is down as 1.85 watt hours. But it's still 3.7 volts. They're both 3.7 volts, but clearly this is going to be able to store the energy a lot longer, so it's going to make this work for a lot longer. Now, I've had a little look at the circuit board here, and also I watched a Big Clive video. And if I zoom in, this chip here is going to be the one responsible for, it's like the brains, the microcontroller. So this is where you have the different amounts. This will, I presume, provide like the LED flashes and stuff like that. And this little one here is going to be the one by the USB-C port, is going to be the charge chip, and it's down as a LTH7 because I just scraped the conformal coating off the top. LTH7. Now it's kind of hard for me to get a data sheet on that. That wasn't full of you know, having to sign up or like in a different language and stuff like that, so I was struggling. But look, if we just let AI do the work, which I know is not always the best thing, but if you have a look here, it's a lithium battery charger. It says that it will be a fixed charge voltage of 4.2 volts, and it says compatible with a variety of lithium ion batteries. So I think it's going to be absolutely fine. It says it's a choice for both professionals and hobbyists. So I think it's going to be fine, but please don't copy what you see in this video. So or any of my videos. So what I'm going to do is I bought some of these, which are like shrinks to make it look nice. And I am going to try to spot weld some nickel on this side. So I'm going to have the positive up the top. I'm going to squeeze that into there, down there it should fit. So I'm going to have a nice long negative coming all the way up here, and it's going to come up to here, and then I'm going to have a positive coming out this way, and then I'm going to solder on the wires that came with this one here, and yeah, let's see if it will charge, and let's see if it will start working again. Right, so let's get started. I've got my thingy just out of shot here, my spot welder. Let's try to weld on some strips onto this. Let's see how we go.
So I'm not going to interrupt the Christmas music. Basically I have to spot weld 2 nickel strips on, and then I have to cover it in a heat shrink. And I'm going to show the heat shrink live because it is quite possibly even more satisfying than doing the spot welding. Beautiful. Ah, so satisfying.
and we're going to put one of these on. So thank you to everybody that told me about these in the last video. Do you know what? I'm going to go for what will go nice with pink. Blue. Let's see if this is actually going to fit. I've never used one of these before. That's going to be really tight. Oh no. Oh. Oh. Snug. But hopefully that will make it look professional. So now that's going to hopefully wrap under that. So I'm going to fold that up for the moment. That will hopefully wrap under that. That will go there. And I want this not to... I'm hoping it will just shrink round. Let's see. I'm going to keep these well away from the heat. Otherwise the whole thing will start shrinking down. And I don't know what heat to have them at. Obviously I've got to be careful because of the battery. I'm going to put my bench power... I'm going to put my hot air right the way down to 100 degrees Celsius. And see if it shrinks at that. Yeah. Oh wow. Oh my word, it's actually starting to look professional. And I know that sounds very high, but look, I've got my hands there, yeah, and it's not, so it's not going to set the battery on fire. Oh my word! I'm going to try not to get overexcited, but this compared to Captain Tape, well, you can't compare. This is actually going to look a little bit professional. So I know it sounds ridiculous, but you know, you could go into business getting something like this, the soap dispensers, and just making them better, you know? Imagine if you got a nicer case for it, something that looked better quality, and put a decent battery in, a branded battery that you know is going to last. Now I wonder, should I cut that there and there to allow that to shrink round, or is it just going to start ripping? Let me see. Just going to snip that there and snip this here. I can't believe how nice that looks. That colour blue is lovely. Yeah, there we go. Oh my word. Well, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Seriously. How good does that look? First attempt. How good does that look? And now I can put that back down there. That looks amazing. Right, let's see if we have our 3.7 volts at the end here. We do. 3.4 volts for me. Okay, so now I have to solder this onto the ends, but I don't know how big I need everything to be. So should we do a test fit?
It's the simple things in life. I can't tell you how satisfying it is putting those 18650 shrinks on. See, the spot welding and stuff is already incredibly satisfying, but then when you have to wrap it all in Captain Tape, it just looks so bad. It takes away any of the enjoyment that you got from the spot welding if the spot welding went well. But with this here, I'm not saying it looks professional. But I am going to say it looks professional because I think it does. It looks absolutely lovely. I'll probably get a load of comments now saying that it's dangerous, you've put the negative too close to the positive, blah, blah, blah. But remember, the whole casing's negative anyway. And I did put that little protection sleeve over the positive. So I think it's going to be as safe, if not safer, because of that extra protection sleeve than most other 18650s out there. I think it's absolutely lovely, and I'm more than happy to use this in my house. So basically I have to solder it all back on, put it together, and I use my solvent weld to put the top back on because it just seems to melt this top on really, really nice. And yeah, this has now been in operation for, well, to begin with, I think it took 10 hours to charge up. Remember, it was 3.4? It took 10 hours before it was fully charged, which is crazy. But it did charge properly, meaning that the amp draw started to go down towards the end until it got to 0, and then it turned itself off. So I think that little chip is capable of charging this big battery here. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. It's now been in operation for 3 weeks. It's my go-to soap dispenser, and I, to begin with, thought it was just a novelty thing, but it's not, because what you do is you end up saving a few pennies because you only put in less soap. You put in about 1/3 soap and 2/3 water, while before I was using the dispensers that came with the soap from the supermarkets. So then you're using pure soap, while now it's mixed in with 2/3 water, so it is actually going to last longer. And also, I've got it coming out the perfect amount. I don't like the full pump on the supermarket ones because it gives me too much soap, while this one I've got set to the lowest setting, 0.3 seconds I think it was, and I'm not sure if it was that, I can't actually remember, but it's the lowest setting, and it gives out a lovely mousse because the way it works is it kind of mixes in air and stuff with it, and then it gives out a lovely mousse. Let me show you it now, but thoroughly like this product here. Strange, isn't it? Because it's only a cheap product, but I really like it. So here it is in its natural habitat, and it hasn't let me down once. And I think I fixed this on the 3rd of December, and today is the 23rd. Every single time it will work, and I don't have to touch anything. It's really nice. I love it. And I think because of the 3000 milliamp hour battery in there, I bet you that's going to last about 6 months, maybe even longer. That's what I'm enjoying about it. How many months am I going to get out of it? While with that battery before, who really knows what capacity that one had? While with this one, it's a Samsung one. I know it's a genuine battery. So yeah, really, really happy with it.
Joy and bah humbug.
So there's a few more failures and also fixes along the way. This fix here was on a little lady's red watch. Nice little thing. And basically the eBay listing said it was a guy that actually watches my videos, and he said that he changed the battery, it no longer worked after that. And it's really interesting. Some watches need you to use tweezers to short between AC and part of the bodywork, and then they'll start working again. And it's really misleading for people that don't change batteries very often, because it will be a different fault each time you do it. So sometimes the screen just remains blank if you don't use your tweezers to short out. Sometimes it will be gobbledygook on the screen, and sometimes it will work just fine. So you might have changed this battery out before and thought, yeah, I didn't have to do anything, just change it out. And then you then think when you change it the next time that it's gone faulty, but it hasn't. You just got lucky, and it just needs to be shorted between the AC and part of the body at the back. And then this one started to work. Thing is, I haven't got the correct battery for it. I need a CR1216. Never seen these ones before. They're kind of like the popular CR2032s and 2025s, but they're a lot smaller. So I've got loads of Renata watch batteries, but nothing in this size here. This is like a 3-volt cell, I believe. Anyway, it's I ordered them from eBay, and annoyingly 1620s came through instead of 1216s. I messaged the seller. I wasn't expecting a refund or anything. I was just saying, have you got the correct batteries? I'll order them again, because I always like to have a variety of batteries. Anyway, they said no worries, they'll send out some more, apologies. And then they sent out more, and again the same ones arrived, 1620s. So I got back and I just said, I'm not expecting a refund, you're not going to get bad feedback, but I think you've got your stock boxes mixed up somewhere, and the picker's clearly picking something from the wrong box. Anyway, they refunded me. I didn't even ask that. So I've ordered the CR1216s from another eBayer, but they haven't arrived yet. So I don't know if there's been some run on these CR1216s that I don't know about, but they seem a tricky little battery to get hold of, even though they're not rare at all. But it is Christmas, so things are delayed over Christmas. Also, I worked on an Xbox One S that was sent in quite a while ago from Madeline. Not the whole Xbox One S, just the motherboard. And she sent in 2 of them. And basically, I looked at the one that looked worse, and it was a full-on short on the 12-volt rail. So I thought, this is going to be interesting. The problem is, I put 1 volt in and tried to use my FLIR cam, but nothing was coming up because it's the 12 volt rail. 1 volt's not enough. But depending on where that short is, you could end up putting 1 volt into the main APU, and then the whole thing is going to be mucked up because you put too much voltage in. So in an instance like this, I really didn't know how to fault find it, apart from all the other voltages come from that 12 volt because that's the main thing coming into it. So what I was doing is I was taking off the massive inductors, because each power supply will have an inductor. By taking off the inductor, you've kind of isolated off that part of the power supply from the rest of the circuit. And by doing that, I managed to narrow it down to a certain area of the board, which is all the different phases feeding the main chip. And basically, I found out that out of 3 MOSFETs, 2 of them had gone. So I probably put about 3 hours work into this, filmed all of it. And then the end result is, to begin with, there was nothing. It wasn't beep on, beep off. There was just nothing there because it was a full-on short. At the end, I had beep on, beep off. So the fan would spin for half a second and then it would just go off, as in near enough instantaneously. Within the same second, it would turn on and turn off again. So there wasn't really much I could do with it. I think it's going to be 40 RAM or 40 main chip, but I don't know. So yeah, many hours was wasted on that as well. But it's always a gamble. It reminded me of working on the PlayStation 5s. And if I had a load of spares on them, and if I did them all the time, I think I would be more interested. But when you kind of sink 1 or 2 days into something and you get nothing back, it's not very satisfying. Well, if you go for something like a toaster or a kettle, at least you know you're going to get an outcome. It might not be fixable, but chances are you're probably going to get an outcome after an hour or two. On a PlayStation 5, you can be on it for 3 days and you're still none the wiser at the end of it, which is a bit annoying. Obviously, that's if you're not doing it for a living. You know, if you're just doing them once every 6 months or something, you never become an expert in anything. But anyway, so that took up quite a lot of my time. I also looked at an LED watch, a very nice watch. Well, not very nice, it's gold, but LED watches are nice. But this one had a missing component on the inside, which is annoying. So basically, that was a bit of a non-event as well. So yeah, there's been lots of hard work on camera and also off camera as well on this Advent challenge here. So basically, that is it. I think we should get all the items up now on the table, and I think we'll have a look through what we've done. And also, I think I'm going to pick out my favourite one.
That's a wrap. I'll get my coat.
Some of the items are not here, like the lawnmower, and there'll be other items that I've probably forgotten as well, but a nice variety of fixes, and that's what keeps me interested, is doing different things, because it's always interesting to see the insides of things like this. And for example, even the switch in this fan I think was interesting as well. So a nice mixture of items. If you ask me what my favourite was, there's been a few, but I think the popcorn maker, it was the first one I did, and loads of little faults, but all interesting, and I was amazed at how quickly the popcorn cooked. I just thought, I just still can't get over how quickly it does it. That's been in use quite a bit, I would say every other night. This has been used the most. Well, actually, no, that's been used the most, but this one has been used every day as well. I think this one will give me a lot of fun when the weather clears up a bit and it's not so windy. This is certainly going to come in useful. As far as interesting fixes, I found the shredder very interesting because it was really weird that the wire was put into the wrong place, yet there was paper dust apparently. I just thought it was kind of like white dust, but people are saying it's paper dust on the inside. How did paper dust get there if the wire was never in the right place? So that's a bit of an odd one. I'm thinking maybe the actual gears that do the shredding, the shredders, are maybe tested on a rig somewhere in the head, and then the other parts are added afterwards in the factory. Not too sure. But anyway, a good mixture of items here. So you can put down in the comments what you enjoyed the most, because sometimes an item like this that you might think is boring actually turns out to be quite interesting on the inside. And sometimes you think something like this, which might be more interesting, can end up being quite a boring fix.
We did it. The Advent Fixathon has been completed. 24 attempted fixes in 24 days. And overall, I think we were quite successful. I feel like I've learned a lot, which is good. And I think a lot of the products were more interesting on the inside than I thought they were going to be. So overall, I think it's been a very successful journey. I hope you enjoyed it. What am I going to do now? I'm going to sleep. I've had 24 days of working nearly around the clock, apart from a little bit of sleep each night. So I've got my cheese selection board that I'm looking forward to. I've got a nice bottle of Baileys here that I'm going to have some drinks from. And I'm just going to spend a bit of time with my family and just relax and hopefully enjoy Christmas. So I've got nothing else to say apart from thank you so much for watching this series. Thanks for all the support you've given me throughout 2024. I'm going to take a bit of time off now for the rest of 2024. You will see me again early January, hopefully with more fixes. Hopefully next year I can do another Advent one, and maybe throughout the year I can do weeks where I do fixathons in certain months, or maybe every month. Let's see how it goes. I, for one, am still not bored of fixing. I don't think I will ever be bored of fixing. I've been doing it since I was tiny, even though back then it was mostly just looking on the inside to see how something works. And if it was a loose wire, I'd fix it. But I've always had that interest. So it's great that I've got an audience out there that feels the same as me. We might not all be experts, but it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy attempting to fix something. And then everybody learns along the way, especially with all the helpful comments that come in. Any mystery in the video is normally cleared up in the comment section. So overall, I think this Advent Fixathon has been a complete success. So I'm going to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and have a great New Year, and I will see you again early 2025. Take care, everyone.
Holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It's the night of the dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, the night when Christ was born, oh, night divine, oh, night divine. Led by the light of faith serenely beaming, with glowing hearts by his cradle we stand. So lit by light, our stars sweetly gleaming, here come the wise men from Orient land. The King of Kings laid us lowly manger in all our trials, born to be our friend. Oh, fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, the night when Christ was born, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born.